seek refuge with Allah from Shaitan the stone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I, Mukarram Siddiqui, on behalf of International Islamic Propagation Center, welcomes you all to today's program. The topic is what Al-Quran says about consolation of psychological hurts, which shall be delivered by Brother Muhammad Shaikh, the chairman and founder of IIPC. As to the proceedings of today's lecture, you have been provided with this reference booklet. If you open this booklet, you will see on the right hand side verses, ayats, written in Arabic, and on the corresponding page you will find its translation with chapter, surah and ayah reference number. Brother Muhammad Shaikh will be elaborating on these ayats. You can follow the lecture in the order of the verses, ayats as listed in this booklet. In the course of the lecture, if a question comes to your mind, please write it down on the piece of paper which is attached to the back of the booklet. I will request you, please do not interrupt the speaker during the lecture. You will be given ample time at the end of the lecture to clarify any issues and ask your questions. I will explain more for the proceedings of question and answer session at the end of the lecture. I will now request Brother Muhammad Shaikh to come up and deliver his lecture on what Al-Quran says about consolation of psychological hurt. Brother Muhammad Shaikh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge with Allah from the shaitan, the stone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The topic is what Al-Quran says about the consolation of the psychological hurts. But before I discuss the topic, I would like to inform you some of the meaning of the word sayyi'ah, which is an Arabic word sayyi'ah or sayyi'at, which is generally translated as hurts or badness. Sayyi'at or sayyi'at, hurtnesses or badness. This word, we are psychologically hurt or we do bad things, and how we got this consolation from Allah. First of all, Allah put us into trials, and He puts us into situations where we are directly hurted by Allah. Since we do not know the book of Allah, so those hurts we carry. And those hurts are due to the actions by Allah. So there are hurts by Allah to us. Then someone hurt us. This is the second hurt. And in vengeance, we are hurted and do bad things to the other person. Someone hurt us or do some bad things to us. We in return do badness or hurt the other person. Then also we carry hurtness or badness within us. Then there are our actions by ourselves, which are nothing to do with Allah or some person. We do it by our own selves because we do not have any guidance from the book. So there are various types of hurts. I've explained one is from Allah One is from other people, and one we are doing for our own self, doing badness or hurts. When we are hurted, then we do certain act which is badness. And that is how we have to correct, how we'll do, Allah will explain how the consolation and everything. So I'll start off my lecture by explaining to you what is this nafs or a psychology, where we get hurt. The word nafs in Arabic means the psyche or the nafs, the soul or the self of a human being. And there's a word badan, means the body. And there's a word ruh, means the spirit. We are a combination of nafs and badan, meaning we have got the psyche and a human body. And within us there is the spirit or the essence, the ruh of Allah. The words described in the Quran, the essence of that message is within us, the essence of the message. And there is one more thing, and that's the devil, the shaitan, which comes in our minds in a thought form, which import thoughts to us. So we are being governed by our psyche, which we don't have knowledge of the book. So that is the nafs of self that we practice and we do. And there are things that when you read the book, when the guidance comes from the book, you take guidance. Or otherwise, the shaitan, the Satan, the devil, the evil one, is distracting you from the message of Allah and as well informing you to do certain things according to his imports. And we start doing evil things, thinking that we are doing right. So a human being is governed by the shaitan also, by his own psyche also. And if you know the message of Allah, then you guide yourself from the Quranic ayahs, the book of Allah. So I will recite one ayah, 43 surah, Zukhruf 36 and 37 ayah. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And whosoever is dim-sighted about the remembrance of our most gracious, we barter for him a shaitan, and he will be connected for him. And they, the shayateens, definitely oppose them about the way, and they calculate that they are the guided ones. In this ayah, we come to know that the shaitan, whoever is dim-sighted from the Quran or the book of Allah, Allah appoints a Satan on him. And this shaitan will be connected to us, and in the thought form, he starts giving us advices according to our vain desires. This is done by Allah. And whosoever is dim-sighted about the remembrance of Allah, the remembrance of Allah is the ayahs, the essence from the book of Allah. So if you do not know the Quran or the book of Allah, you are dim-sighted of the remembrance of Allah. We barter for him a shaitan. And this shaitan is connected to you, connected to every individual. And these shaitan definitely oppose about the way of Allah. And these people calculate themselves that they are the guided ones. This is how the first misguidance takes place, because since we do not know the book of Allah. So the shaitan is connected to every human being when he comes into the world. He is connecting us because we do not know the message of Allah, every human being of the world. Now, how he does it in our nafs and the psyche, another reference is Surah Qaf 50 and Ayah 16. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلٍ وَرِيدٍ. And without doubt, we have created mankind, and we know what his soul, self, psyche whispers with it. And we are nearer, closer towards him from his jugular vein. In the Quran, when the shaitan whispers us, and then after that, our nafs, the psyche, starts whispering us. Under the influence of the shaitan, then our psyche starts whispering us, and we, Allah says, we definitely know what the nafs, the psyche, whispers us in our thoughts. And Allah says that we are near to His jugular vein, so He understands how by the whispers we are misguided. Now first the shaitan import his thoughts, then when we are influenced by the shaitan, then we themselves, our nafs start whispering, or the self start whispering us in our mind. Without doubt we have created mankind, and we know what his soul self whispers with it, and we are nearer, closer towards him from his jugular vein. And then another ayah in Surah Yusuf 12:53, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي إِنَّ رَبِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. And I do not quit free from my soul self-psyche. Surely the soul self-psyche definitely orders with hurtness, badness, except on whom my Lord did mercy. Surely my Lord is forgiving, merciful. So in this ayah, Allah says that the nafs or the psyche, nafs ammara, orders with badness. When it gets influence of the shaitan, so the nafs by itself start ordering with badness. It is mentioned in the Quran as nafs ammara bisu. The nafs orders mankind with badness. When after the shaitan is connected to him, the nafs, the psyche itself start ordering us with badness. So Allah says, this ayah says, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ بِنَفْسِي وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي, I am not acquit free from my soul self-psyche. Surely the soul self-psyche definitely orders with badness, except on whom my Lord did mercy. Until unless Allah does not give us mercy, we are being ordered, our nafs or the psyche orders us with badness. In Surah Al-Qiyamah 75 verse 2, وَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِنَفْسِ اللَّوَّامَةِ, and no, I swear with the soul self-psyche blaming itself. Now lawwama, first the psyche orders with badness or hurtness, then it comes in the condition of lawwama, which means that it starts blaming. After the action is committed, it starts blaming to others or ourselves. By itself, it goes in the condition of blaming others or blaming its own self. That is lawwama condition. And after the guidance of the Quranic ayahs, you have to achieve Ya ayyuhatan nafsal mutma'inna, mean the satisfied soul psyche. So you must understand what I have read these verses. From these verses we conclude that after the shaitan is connected to us, then our nafs orders mankind with badness. And once we do bad things, then we go into the condition of lawwama, means that we start blaming, or remorse, or regrets. We are regretted, or remorse, or regret, we start blaming us or others people, and on us also. We have to achieve mutmainna. Nafsul mutmainna means satisfied soul of the self. And we can never attain that unless we govern ourselves by the ayahs or get educated from the ayahs to guide our lives. This is how we'll come to know. Now, how Allah puts us into trials. The hurtness from Allah. Al-Baqarah 2, ayah 155. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Surah Al-Baqarah 2, ayah 155 to 157. And definitely we'll test you, try you with something of fear and hunger and the loss from the wealth and the soul's self-psyche and the fruits and give the good news to those who have patience, persevere. When to those calamity reaches them, they say, surely we are for Allah, and surely towards Him we will return. They are those on whom prayers and a mercy from their Lord, and they are those who are guided. Now this is the hurtness or a trial or we can say a test from Allah, whether you are a believer or whether you are not a believer, whoever you are. Allah says that we will definitely test you with something of fear. The fear of Allah is consciousness of Allah to put yourself right. In the Quran, when you read the verses of the Quran, there are places when the shaitan, the devil, fears mankind. And if you are fearful of the devil or the evil or the shaitan, then he astrays you. When Allah puts a fear in mankind, He expects you put yourself on the right path. That's not dictatorship, that is putting you on the straight path, because He has created us. He knows our weaknesses and things which are wrong for us. And He also explained what is good for us. So He gives us the do's and the don'ts so that we can walk a good life, walk in a right path or have a good life. So He fears something. The first is that He puts a fear in mankind so that he may return to Allah. And there is a fear of hunger about jobs. I don't have a job, or I'm looking for a job, or the business people are starting business, they are fearful that it will work or not. You are fearful of hunger. Or natural disasters also. People are dying, still today also. When Allah makes sure that people die of hunger, though no man can all the world, mankind put together cannot feed them. If He makes sure that there are people who's going to die because of hunger, you cannot do anything about it with all your petrodollars. That's His way. And then He puts a fear loss of wealth. The loss of wealth and the loss of the soul, the self, the psyche, and the fruits of your works. So in this ayah there are 4 or 5 things. This is a trial from Allah to mankind. When people do not know, they think that something magic is going on. If something goes wrong in their life, they think this is a magic going on with me, or they go to different people to find out why my things are not working as my wish and vain desires are. Instead of thinking that Allah is taking my incident that takes place in my life, whatever incident it takes, which your action is not involved, whenever your action is not involved, Allah is putting you into a trial so that you return to Allah. Mostly people do not know the ayahs of this ayah. They think that my life is in a position because some people has done to me, or something is going wrong, or something blaming others, or blaming yourself. So this is a hurtness or a trial from Allah. And these are the 4 things. The 4 I mentioned, from fear and the hunger and the loss of wealth and the fruits. This is a trial from Allah, and people react to this and take a decision of their own. Without taking guidance, they are hurt, and they feel hurt and feel bad about it. So when good people, what is the consolation in this verse, in the further ayah? الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. When to those the calamity reaches them, they surely say, we are for Allah, and surely towards Him will we return. Meaning, whenever certain thing happens to you, which your action is not connected, when you are not in a position when your action is not involved, it is from Allah. So people who want consolation should say this: Alladina idha asabatum musiba. When to those calamity reaches them, they say, surely we are for Allah, and surely towards Him we will return. Meaning, we have to go back to Allah and take guidance. And if you say that, further Allah said, they are those on whom are prayers and a mercy from their Lord, and they are those who are guided. So if we are in that position, we must refrain, persevere, have patience that Allah is trying us. rather getting fooled by somebody who's doing something to you. Nobody can do anything to anyone. No one can harm anyone except by the permission of Allah. So go back to Allah, and He is saying that we are for Allah, we'll seek guidance from Allah, and then there are prayers. You have to start in the, in the Quran, we Muslims praise prayers 5 times a day. And what is a prayer? We have communication with Allah in prayers. We recite the ayahs of Allah, which is a two-way communication. In the normal way of life, people are besieging or asking God, Allah. But in the Quran, there are positions described in the ayah, the situations, and when we recite the ayah, is a communication from mankind and as well an answer from Allah. So what I am reading, you can see this is an explanation of an event that may take place in your life. So when we recite in the prayers these verses, this we make sure that Allah we will definitely try you with something of fear, and I'm praying these, repeating those verses. So in my thought form, it is persistent. The verse is persistent in my mind, that Allah is trying me, and I bow down to that and I prostrate myself. So tranquility, peace will be attained. Now Allah says in the further ayah, Surah Al-Hadid 57, ayah 22, ما أصابك من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك الله يسير لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم والله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. Nothing reaches from calamity in the earth and nor in your soul self-psyche, except it is in a book that we release it, set it free. Surely that is easy over Allah. So that you do not grieve over what passed, slipped away, and you do not rejoice with what He gave you. And Allah does not love those who are deceitful, boastful. Now in the Quran, in the book of Allah, Allah says that the calamity reaches the earth like in the form of disasters. We see in the world the disasters all over the world. These disasters are written down before the event in the book of Allah. Except Allah, when the time comes, Allah releases that calamity over the earth, in the earth, and within our souls. When the time comes, that is released. Surely we release it, set it free, that is easy for Allah. Meaning, I may be not in that situation. I see in, for example, Japan or in Kashmir or in places like Africa, we see the calamity. Those people are suffering. The earthquakes, the hurricanes, whatever. This is a natural disaster written down in the book before it takes place. When the time comes, it happens and no one can stop it. Similarly, the hurts, when Allah tries us, it comes. No one can stop it within our human selves, in the psyche. And He says, why He does it? So you do not grieve over what passed away, slipped away, and you do not rejoice what He gave you. Now people in the world who do not believe in the Quran or the verses of Allah, they think that the success lies because of their own intelligence. And they build up an ego. The success in life, they think they are being successful according to their own standards. So when they are being tried, they get badly hurt. Because when they think that they are not successful, they are hurt badly. So people who believe in Allah's verses, when any calamity comes, they put it on Allah. That Allah has done it. قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Surely we are for Allah, and for Allah we will return. So they pass this on Allah and take our, subsided or have patience. But if you have got your own ego or being I'm so and so and I'm there. So what will happen? Whenever calamity will comes on you, you will get hurt. And when Allah give you something good, you rejoice and you think I've done it. That's my I have done it, and your ego is boosted up. So this kind of psychology is balancing, putting you above you Himself. Allah is putting you above you Himself. Why? Because He's saying, why I do this? Why He puts us into trials?